let's get you the headlines. Security is stepped up ahead of world leaders arriving in India as the country prepares to host the G20 summit this weekend. No trace of the UK terror suspect Daniel Khalif yet, who's escaped from a London prison. And the winners of the UK's prestigious Mercury Music Prize. Meanwhile, in the US, another search is on for an escaped prisoner who crab-walked over a wall to escape a jail in Pennsylvania. You'll see that in just a bit. Here's Danilo Cavalcante making his escape last week. Just before this, he'd been sentenced to life in prison for killing his ex-girlfriend. A massive search is underway for the 34-year-old Brazilian national. More news now. The military authorities in Mali say at least 64 people have been killed in two separate attacks by Islamist militants in the northeast of the country. The interim government says 49 civilians died when a passenger boat traveling on the Niger River came under fire. Later, a nearby military camp in Bamba was attacked with 15 soldiers among the victims. Mali's military authorities say 50 jihadists have also been killed.
State TV in Mali announces 2 attacks by Islamic militants on civilians. Dozens are feared dead. Plus, apologizing for a predator in Japan. The family and company of a late boy band promoter acknowledge his crimes.
The head of the NATO alliance says Ukrainian forces are continuing to make progress in retaking land occupied by Russian forces. But Jens Stoltenberg says any advance is moving at just about 100 meters a day. It comes as the U.S. Secretary of State wraps up a visit to Kyiv. Antony Blinken announced a new Ukraine aid package worth more than $1 billion, which also includes controversial shells to be used with the U.S. Abrams tanks, which are made of depleted uranium. Staying with the U.S., California's legislature has become the first in the country to approve a bill banning caste discrimination. Now, the caste system in India dates back over 3,000 years and divides the Hindu society into rigid hierarchical groups. U.S. lawmakers say the measure will protect people of South Asian descent from unfair treatment. The state's governor must now decide whether to sign the bill into law amid arguments from some Hindu groups that the caste system is not really a serious issue.
All right, a look now at some other stories making headlines. Torrential rains have led to flash flooding in Hong Kong. The territory's weather agency said more than 158 millimeters of rain fell in a single hour late on Thursday. That's about 6 inches and the highest hourly rate since records began. Schools are shut and residents have been urged to stay inside. The U.S. Open women's semifinal was delayed by climate activists on Thursday night. The match between American Coco Gauff and Karolina Muchova of the Czech Republic finally resumed after a 15-minute stoppage. The match had to be halted in the second set when a group of spectators began chanting "End fossil fuels." One of the protesters also glued his feet to the stadium floor, which extended that delay.